present situation is definitely very fragile currently, given that our government has fallen down less than 10 hours ago, and it's left the country into complete anarchy and chaos.
Well, in my view, the situation in Nepal has gone far beyond what happened in Bangladesh.
All right, to deconstruct the dramatic developments in Nepal, I'm now joined on Global Pulse by Rose Candle. She's an economist, social media influencer, and activist, and joins us live from Kathmandu. We're also joined by Ambassador S.D. Muni. He's a former special envoy of India and member executive council at the IDSA. He has taught at the Jawaharlal Nehru University, and he's also an author of a book on Nepal's foreign policy. And completing the panel tonight is Shivam Shekhawat, Junior Fellow at the Observer Research Foundation Strategic Studies Program. Thanks to all my guests for joining me. Rose, if I could begin with you, to say that, today witnessed dramatic developments in Nepal would be an understatement, because what we are witnessing, frankly, is Nepal burning and the toppling of the KP Oli regime. Reports suggest the Prime Minister, or ex-Prime Minister now, may have fled to Dubai, though there is no confirmation of his whereabouts. There's still a lot of speculation about the status of the president, with some reports suggesting he may have put in his papers as well, but again, no confirmation. But what is clear is that anarchy, chaos, and unrest continue on the streets of Kathmandu and elsewhere in Nepal. There is a definite vacuum in the corridors of power, and many believe that the army chief is in control at the moment. How do you look at the present situation and how it's unfolding?
So the present situation is definitely very fragile currently, given that our government has fallen down less than 10 hours ago, and it's left the country into complete anarchy and chaos. What Nepali people are severe. So the unrest that has happened here in Nepal, it has resulted into complete chaos as well as anarchy. And what the Nepali citizens are most worried about is who is going to take charge, who is going to be responsible for all the vandalism, all the damages. And reportedly, you're seeing these allegations, these projections of banks being looted, of big supermarkets being vandalized, and who is going to be responsible for it. Everybody's worried, everybody is terrified. But what we can say is that immediate appointment of a leader and of a caretaker government is necessary. It's essential, it's urgent to protecting our country from further damages.
Well, you're quite right in pointing that out, and you're also sharing with us that there is large-scale looting of banks and other, establishments taking place there. Clearly, the scenes emerging from Kathmandu are quite chilling, to say the least. They seem to suggest that the entire country is burning right now as we speak. Ambassador S.D. Muni, sir, you understand this country and region very well. There are so many questions being asked today. It took 36 hours of angry protests by Gen Z, as it's being called, on the streets of Kathmandu for the KP Oli regime to be brought down to its knees. The Prime Minister, it seems, was left with no choice but to resign along with his entire cabinet. He may have fled the country. And now there is, amidst all the anarchy and unrest, a massive political and executive vacuum. One of the principal questions being asked is, was this really just an organic student movement or youth movement that has led to the toppling of the KP Oli regime? Because there are also conspiracy theories doing the rounds over whether this is yet another instance of the US-China rivalry playing out in India's backyard, and parallels, as I'm sure you're well aware, are being drawn with Bangladesh. What is your reading of the situation, sir?
Well, in my view, the situation in Nepal has gone far beyond what happened in Bangladesh. The way people are personally being you know, totally inhuman attacks on individuals and leaders, burning of Supreme Court, burning of Parliament, burning of Singh Darbar, which is the administrative center of it, burning of the banks and hitting the bank of officers and supervisors is not precedented anywhere. This is all unprecedented, and it doesn't fall into the pattern of a people's upheaval in which people are thrown out like that. Let me make a difference between what happened on 8th of September and what has happened on 9th of September. On 8th of September, it appeared that the attack was on the corrupt leader, on the non-governance, on the nepotism, on dynastic rule or whatever you call it, and that was an absolutely correct assessment, because this is how many people in Nepal were frustrated, not only the young people. And I had seen in media reports, the issue was being raised again and again, that why this leadership has not been able to respond to the critical issues. But the protests today are far more different from it if you look at the nuances in which it is there. And there are, I think, one or two reasons behind it. One is, of course, the killing of 20 young people, more than 20 young people, and nearly 500 of them are still in the hospital. So obviously, it has angered people very, very largely and very, very strongly. And secondly, I think the extent of violence which is there today. Even yesterday they were angry, but they did not attack people individually. They really attacked the issues which were there. Now, why this difference is there, I think one will have to investigate very closely. But I find that some of the it cannot be ruled out that some of the antisocial elements, or those who want to destroy the system, not the leadership. The whole republican system of Nepal is under attack, and who will benefit from this kind of an attack except for the royalists? I hope that that doesn't happen, because at the mass level there is a very little support for the royalists, and I'm sure the young people are not fighting this war for bringing back monarchy at all. What they are fighting for is their rights, their freedom, their opportunities, their aspirations, and they want to throw the corrupt people out. But the investigations of what has happened, or looking deeply into what has happened today, is absolutely mind boggling, and there can be no answer to that. It is possible that geopolitics is in there, because all the social media are linked to the US. I am told that the public society, George Soros's institution, what is its name? I'm a public society, or what it's called, something like that. They were also involved in it, and they really want to remove a regime which was seen to be very much pro-China. That is the Oli's regime, of course, supported by. So that angle may be there, but originally this is the geopolitics is exploiting the local situation. Let us look at it this way.
Okay, this is interesting. It's a very nuanced analysis you've given us. Geopolitics may be at play. This was, after all, a pro-China regime. Could there be a US hand behind this? There was a lot of speculation after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh that the United States was behind the unrest that eventually led to the toppling of her government. And at the same time, you're saying these are not pro-monarchy protests. These are people who are fighting for their rights, fed up of corruption and nepotism, who wanted to be heard and who were absolutely frustrated and disillusioned with the political system. Let me bring in Shivam Shekhawat at this point. Shivam, what's your reading of the situation in Nepal? Do you believe there could be more to it than meets the eye? Is this simply a case of, angry young people taking to the streets because they were fed up of corruption and nepotism in the system? It is being called the Gen Z revolution, and things reached a point where they decided that the lifting of the social media ban was no longer enough, that KP Oli would have to resign, and that's exactly what's happened. Or do you believe that there could be larger and external factors at play here?
I think I would just want to first highlight the fact that the lifting of the social media ban or the revocation of the ban that the government had posed on all this on 26 social media sites in Nepal was never the reason why this protest even began. Like
I
in my
agree.
understanding,
I believe the people were angry that their criticism of the government was being stifled on social media under the garb of this ban, and that is why they took to the streets.
yes. So I think for anybody who's been looking at Nepal, and this is something that Ambassador Muni also mentioned, that like the people have genuine grievances. Like for in the last since Nepal transitioned to a federal democratic republic in 2008, all of us know that there have been close to 12 prime ministers. The different coalition partners, particularly the three mainstream parties, have had power rotate between amongst them in the last almost 2 decades, and that has led to a policy paralysis in terms of like before there have been instances when governments have not been able to complete their full tenure in power. I think what this leads to and what a lot of people fail to notice is that over the years this has led to massive failures in governance. If you look at Nepal's economy at the moment, or if you look at how it is faring in terms of the other of the region, we realize that at this present moment the out migration from Nepal to other countries, especially to Gulf, to countries in Europe or to the United States, has increased exponentially in the past few years, and that has while led to an over dependent on remittances for the economy, that has also led to a uh, massive gap in the country's own skilled population. So a lot of the people currently inside the country, and Nepal has a very strong very big number of people who fall in the 16 to 40 age category. It's almost 40% of the population who falls under that bracket, and for a lot of those people, productive employment opportunities or opportunities in skilled jobs does not exist. And I think for a lot of people this discontent has been brewing for a lot of years. And I think when in March, when we saw the pro-monarchy protest emerge, and that did raise genuine concerns about the increase in support for monarchy. But if you looked at the protest back then as well, you would realize that a lot of people were in general disillusioned by how the republic was functioning. So they might not actually be in favor of a return to monarchy, but they were kind of disillusioned by how the current dispensation, who that there would be development inclusivity. None of
Okay, we seem.
low paying jobs in other countries because they do not have opportunities in their own country. So I think while a lot of unsubstantiated report and some maybe might be true about there being an external influence have emerged, I believe that the initial like fervor or the initial issue that kind of led to it is pretty much domestic, is pretty much organic. Obviously, as Ambassador Muni also mentioned, today the protests that have happened today are starkly different from what happened yesterday. And I think it is like a lot of the anger from yesterday has kind of now escalated into a scale of violence that was never seen before in some context. So I think that is definitely a different debate to have altogether.